All right, everybody, welcome to Backstage with Ian and Joel. We've been here for about 25 minutes, but
Yeah,
technical difficulties and all that.
and
So
the mistakes are just getting bigger and
mag-
bigger.
they're getting magnified. How you doing, Joel?
Oh, it's I think the last 20 minutes is a synopsis of how my week's gone. So yeah, it's been a challenge too. But
Yep.
nothing nothing we can never let us get us down. So I just, gotta put in a little extra work.
Yeah, keep plugging away.
Our today's guest knows a little bit about all that.
Putting in
Yeah.
some real hard work for many
Yes.
years. Yep.
And has
Yeah,
affected
we're
a lot of
we're
lives.
excited to have Tom Long on from Real Art Thunderdome. He'll fill us in on some of that stuff, making music, print, and design. Check out all those
Yeah,
spots. We'll
yeah,
provide links to everything, and we'll bring it up again. But Tom is awesome. I helped him book at Real Art for a little while, but he does a lot of really hard work along with a lot of volunteers down at that space in Tacoma.
yeah,
Really, really cool spot. Um, that all being said, today's kind of topic is alternative music spaces, all ages spots, and kind of the importance of those. So, Joel, you've been kind of talking about this throughout. It's been like
yeah,
the undercurrent of all of our kind of episodes
yeah,
so far is just how
yeah,
important these spaces are going to become
yeah,
as the traditional models kind of start faltering and cracking.
yeah. And I'll save the majority of it for when Tom's with us. But
Yeah.
just I I gotta. I've had when I think about like my youth and my upbringing and stuff, I had a lot of challenges and stuff. But I do remember one thing that I also had was thanks to some friends of mine, um, namely Bob Durkee. If anybody from LA in the early 80s will know that name for sure, they should actually know him now because he's a big figure in the LA scene now, even. But he started a spot called 12XU. Um, a lot of the people from that were like had an early hand in like straight edge scene and stuff in the West Coast, like in the whole West Coast. A lot of it started there because like bands like Justice League and Pillsbury Hardcore started there. But anyway, like without getting too into it, I just want to say there was a volunteer spot where shows were being run out of, where everybody was just in it together and not in it for themselves. And when you do stuff like that, you can make magic, and that's for real. Because otherwise, we lived in a place that was pretty much like 60 miles. Even though we were in Southern California, we were 60 miles from anywhere,
Mm,
like anywhere. So
yeah.
and what happens in these places. It's proven that when you have an environment where there's no hope, usually despair comes out of that,
Mhm.
and these places like Real Art and all these other like-minded places all across the country, and there's not even nearly enough of them. I don't mean to
Oh,
make it sound like there's a million of them, but these spaces there's not nearly enough. um but I'm not prepared with statistics today about how many there are, but it's very hard to keep them open. But
yeah.
this one right here, Real Art, Tom Long, they're 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 they got a great proven track record. They mean a lot to the community, and they're always community building, and that's what it's
Yep.
about.
All right. So speaking of Tom, let's bring him on. That's
Sure.
what everybody's here to see. I got to hit the right button. Hey, Tom, how's it
Hello.
going? Thank you for doing
Doing
this,
well.
man.
How are you? Yeah, thank
Hello.
you for having me. Hello.
Thank you
We're
for
we're
being
doing
here.
pretty good. We're glad you're here and you put up with all of our stupid shit before we started. Thank you for that. I'm
Yeah.
glad you're not upside down anymore. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not in the upside down today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. No.
I
But
mean,
the whole music industry kind of is in a
Oh, I
way.
know, yeah. They're
Um
they're
that's
having a huge problem with selling big name artist tickets. They're just
Yeah.
what do they call it, like Blue Dot or something like that, where there's just like tickets upon tickets, and they're just canceling tours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely an industry-wide problem, but I think, and Joel has been, like I said, Joel's been talking about this. I think the solution and the kind of pivot is going to be to spaces like yours.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, so for people that aren't familiar with kind of your story, um, how you got to be running
Yeah.
Real Art, president of Real Art, can you fill people in just briefly?
Yeah. We started Real Art in 2015. It was born out of Viaduct, so basically the legacy comes from 2007 time frame. Um, so basically the nonprofit is run since Viaduct, since it was the Red Room, and then when it became Real Art in 2015.
Okay.
So it was me, Brian Skiffington, Alex Shellhammer, Phil Peterson, and Josh Brumley that started the venue in 2015. And then things changed, and I'm the only one that's still primarily involved in the venue side. We have Skip that still books shows with us here and there, but for the most part, it's just me and then a group of volunteers that help me make it what it is.
Hell yeah, man. And
Yeah.
you got into music, uh it sounds like you were in a place where you needed a space like this and it didn't exist,
Yeah.
right?
So I lived in South Georgia from like 2000, or it was 1996 to 2006. Um, where I was living in a small town, there was no scene. You had to go to Savannah or Atlanta or Jacksonville to go to shows, and where I lived, there was nothing. And there was like somewhat of a DIY, like all ages scene in Savannah, but this was like 1996, so like the internet was very young, so it's like hard to find out about these things. And there was like it was an hour away, and you didn't really know where to go or how to get there because like you had to actually use map for directions. I think it was like MapQuest wasn't even a thing at that point, so it was like you
Yeah.
had to know someone who knew someone and would plug you in. And then being where I was at, a lot of the people that I knew were just listening to Radio Rock and things like that. And like we would go to this piercing studio in Savannah called uh, Planet 3. And that's how we found out about music. That's where I was like, oh,
Hmm.
found out about the Warped Tour and find out about, because I was getting into straight edge. So I was like finding straight edge shirts and Revelation Records shirts and things like that. So just
Yeah.
getting plugged into hardcore and punk rock, like back when you really had to look at liner notes and see what other people are doing to find out about bands. And that's how I even just looking at the liner notes of a Rage Against the Machine record, because I had no idea that Zach Del Roca was involved in hardcore, straight edge,
Mhm.
any of that. He was just some guy in a rock band like that was popular.
Yeah.
And then you look at the liner notes and you see that he's thanking Ian MacKaye, and I'm like, who's that guy? And then you find out, oh, that guy is like the guy for straight edge. So it's like, everything just like, oh, you don't know about Minor Threat? So, that's how it all just snowballs into figuring out data. But now it's like you can just Google anything and you'll find out info. But back then it was kind of tough.
Right. Yeah. So and then you got involved with all this stuff. You started Real Art. What was the real, like, the was there like a moment where you were like, shit, we got to start something in Tacoma now, or did it all just
Yeah.
kind of fall together?
So back in like when we started Real Art in 2015, it was the Red Room had closed, and Brian and Josh reached out to me and was like, "Hey, we want to bring back Viaduct. like, would you want to be involved in that? Because before I moved to New York in 2007, I was like involved in the Junkyard, which was like a really
Mhm.
short-lived venue down over by Safelite Auto Glass down here on South Tacoma Way. And so I right when Viaduct was getting going, I picked up and moved to New York, and I was there for 7 years. But the original intent for me before I decided to move to New York was to open up a clothing store inside of the space that we have now that was Viaduct then, but is Real Art now. So,
Okay.
2007, I was planning on trying to open up my own clothing store inside of the venue to kind of help, pay for costs and whatnot, and like kind of subsidize some things. And they decided, oh, why not do that now? Because you're back in Tacoma, like we can do this together. So me and I enlisted my buddy Alex, who was running a brand called Polyrev, and we decided to combine forces and do Thunderdome. So Thunderdome,
Cool.
2 men enter, 1 man leaves. So that's kind of where we got the idea for, and it's pretty hilarious that 1 man did leave. So it's just,
Okay.
but then I
F-
ended up getting some other friends to kind of join forces with me and help me out with the clothing side, and then we ended up bringing in a print shop and things like that. So it's like a
Hell yeah. And
multi-use space.
when you guys started this, did you have, I mean, I know you've been kind of involved in Junkyard and Viaduct a little bit, but when you started Real Art, did you have like any experience starting a venue? Did you know what you were getting into? Like, because
Uh,
what we want to do here is try and tell kids that you can do this too in your community, right? Potentially.
yeah. Uh, so basically, the only real experience I had with running any type of venue was the little time that I put in helping out with the junkyard when we were getting that going, and then just basically helping book shows. For
Okay.
me, I wasn't really the one booking the shows because I was more like the money guy. Because they'd be like, "Oh, we have a guarantee, but we don't have the money." Like, you just got out of the military and you have all this money just chilling. Because like I was like for 6 months I was on unemployment, and then I had a bunch of money saved up from when I was stationed in Iraq. So I was like, I got money, so if you need help
Okay.
getting guarantees to pay bands, like I can do that. Like
Okay.
as
I was
long as I get my money back, I don't care about making money. I just want to have my money back. Like I'm not in it for the money, and which is
and
like pretty much still the thing that's going on now. It's like
I
we
I was
don't
just gonna
make
say,
money.
like, I
Yeah,
was just gonna say that's like the space that you run now, volunteer run, nonprofit. You put in tons of hours at that place. I know you
yeah,
do.
a
Um,
100%. Yeah.
you wear a bunch of different hats,
Mm-hmm.
but you are so passionate about doing it and keeping it
Yeah.
going that, I think that is like one of the essential things you need, but you already touched on it. You need money.
Mm-hmm. Money for
and
sure.
and with alternative spaces, like I think that's a question that I have. Like with your traditional music venue, you've got a bar, you've got like, I don't know, there's a lot of the structure is different. So can you
Mm-hmm.
kind of tell us a little bit about how Real Arts structures, not like detailed financials, but like
Yeah.
paying bands
It's
and
how it works.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, kind of
Yeah.
how it
how it
So
works.
survives. Hmm?
typically, depending on what the show is, we usually do a 70-30 door split with the bands, promoters,
Okay.
what have you. So basically they make the percent, like the majority percentage of the door. We take 30%. Sometimes it's a 80-20 split. So we'll take the smaller end. We're just covering all of our house costs, which is sound, if we need security, if we need whatever staffing needs we have, we we put that in. So the artists and us, we share that cost 50-50, and then everything after that, uh 70-30 or 80-20, whatever the deal is. Or if there is a guarantee, then we'll have a guarantee. Luckily, we're living in a day and age where a lot of it is pre-sale oriented, so you
Yeah.
can kind of cover all your costs before doors even open. So
Hopefully.
just depending on what the event is and what kind of draw everyone has. Sometimes, but for us, it can be a crapshoot.
Yep.
We do a lot of shows where there's artists that are on tour that we don't know anything about, other than what we've listened to on Spotify or streaming, and then seeing what their engagement looks like on social media. But sometimes that isn't really that much of a measure because someone might have a solid following, but nobody knows them locally. So
Yeah.
we have to make sure that we get the right people to open up for that band, and then kind of sandwich them in if we need.
Yeah,
That
I think that comes to like a big that's an important thing that you do, your venue does, is you provide a space for these up and coming bands, the local bands, to play on a legit stage with it's not like a super DIY space with bad sound and all that. It's a good space, a good sound system. It's a real venue, but you approach it less from like I mean, everybody needs to make money, but you're not as cutthroat as your typical venue is going to be as far as like, shit, you only got 50 people in here. Like, you're never playing here again. Like, you're more compassionate and trying to teach people how this works.
There'll be some shows where we'll have maybe like 11 people pay, and then we got 2 touring bands, and we're like, well, we didn't make house costs. We're already losing money. So if whatever came through the door, we'll just like split it. Like we'll just give 100% of the door to the bands. Because like I know we're already losing money. What's a couple extra bucks? Our house costs are pretty low. It's like $250 most nights if it's like low staff. So I'd rather leave a good experience with the bands, letting them know it's like, hey, this show sucked, but we'll do better on the next one, whether it be marketing, promoting, what have you, like making sure all things are dialed in. And next time, the 11 people that came to this show will come to the next one. And then maybe they'll bring people because they know, hey, I saw this band, they're really dope. Nobody came to that show. Let's go support this band. Let's go show up.
I mean, Joel, I'm sure you've got a million stories of seeing a band and there's only a handful of people there. I went and saw like I don't remember why, but somebody messaged me and was like, "Come to the Crocodile. The Lumineers are playing a show." And I got there and I thought it was going to be like a packed show or something. There was like 30 people there and they played on the floor in like a circle. And like the next thing I know, they're like selling the Tractor out, then the Neptune, then it's just like Numos, and they're just blowing up. Go to shows, man, because you can see a band before they take off, and then you've got a story for life about being in a room with like 50 people that knew before everybody else did.
Most of my best stories are also not just that, but also seeing bands in like alternative spaces like skate shops. And we used to have a place in LA. It was pretty famous. A lot of people know about it. It was called the Jabberjaw, and it was down like Pico Union. No, it wasn't Pico Union. Anyway, it was in a pretty gnarly part of LA. In fact, when the Rodney King riot broke out, I was driving on I didn't know about it because I was driving over to go see Unsane play at this place, and the cops had my exit closed off. That's how I found out about the Rodney King riots. I was down the street from them. There was smoke billowing all over LA, but I was trying to go to this little space. The space was amazing. It was like I don't know what it ever was originally, but it looked like it was like a little mini meeting hall or neighborhood kind of hall maybe at some point, but it was really small and had a giant courtyard, and the shows were all like $10 or less, $5, and it was all basically the heavier touring bands of the time all wanted to play there. It was a DIY play space with all word of mouth, and it was bring your own and bring your own beer, which didn't always work out real well. And then but yeah, I got to see Unsane, I got to see Reverend Horton Heat, I got to see all these. So yes, by all means, also go to fucking independent, but also just unorthodox spaces, and also kids should start putting up more shows in those kind of spaces, because what's happening is, and I hate to say it, but it's just that as the standard model gets more and more corporatized, it becomes harder for the indie segment to keep up, obviously, because the cost, but also profit margins need to be X amount. So
Right.
this is how early 80s punk happened, though, because it's not like those people were going and playing at any really just about any thing that would be considered a reputable venue, you know. And a lot of my first shows, like my first punk show, I saw in a horse corral in in the Inland Empire. Somebody had some ranch, some horse property. It was just like normal suburban house, but they had a big ass backyard, and they used to throw shows there, and bands from LA used to come out, and we did that. We had a place called Munchies in the '90s. It was a place it was a sandwich shop that was about to go out of business because it wasn't very good. They had this whole back space that wasn't being used, and we just started having bands, a lot of early 90s bands, and a lot of them became big, but it was just because we were like 40 miles outside of Los Angeles. None of us were even old enough to, like, a lot of us weren't old enough to go to LA in a car, and we had to do something. So Munchies started, my buddy Jack started that place, and like I said, out of a failing restaurant in the back, we had just legendary shows. We ended up having like you know, freaking everything that was coming out of Seattle in the early 90s was coming through, playing there. You know, all the Merge Records stuff that was popular at the time was coming through, playing there. So much so that all the club owners in LA got together and squeezed us into closing because they told all the agents that they were so we got squeezed out.
Time.
But for 2 years, we had the fucking baddest. We had a venue. Well, what happened was our place got so good that people from LA were driving out, skipping the LA shows and coming out. Yeah. See, that shit can happen. And you can get that power. So I don't know. I feel so. I'm gonna throw it back to you guys, but I just wanted to say that I'll get off my. But you know, that's why I admire any of this kind of work that anybody does, because it can like shape someone's whole like way they think, and then thus their life. You know.
Yeah, we've had a pretty good amount of bands that, you know, went from nothing to something, and now they're like big bands, and they played to like really small crowds here at Real Art. Like Dying Wish, that they're a big band now. Drain, another big band. They played here like the last time they came through town. I think they played a Seattle show. They talked about playing to 11 people at Real Art.
Real
mentioned us by name, saying, "Hey, you guys are all here right now, but you should have been here when we played for 11 people at Real Art."
Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. You know this. Both of you guys know this. When a band hits a little traction and people start digging it, and that's good. That's good for the band and all that. But the thing is like people go back and start remembering and going, fuck, actually the best show I ever saw them, you know, is that show I saw at Real Art with 11 people.
Yeah.
I say that about some of my favorite bands, you know, like for me, you know, I'm a big Negative Approach guy, and I saw and I saw Laughing Hyenas at a basement club in Hollywood with maybe 50 people tops, you know, and it's like I hold on to that. That's like the jewel, you know. I feel like, in case I want to hear, I'm anxious to talk more to Tom about what he does, but if people are wondering, like, this kind of work is meaningful even 50 years later. 45 years later, you know.
Don't make yourself older than you are.
I know, dude.
We're all getting pretty old these days.
I want to say that as an old
I know.
You know,
I'm 45, so
there you go, buddy. Yeah. I'm 58, and you know, I grew up at the age of 13 going to punk and hardcore punk shows in Southern California. and it was the time is amazing because you go in the energy and you get swept up in it, and sometimes shit can go upside down and get weird.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I saw a lot of kids that didn't come back to shows, but then when you do, and it all clicks for you, and then you become part of
Yeah.
the thing, and you
Mhm.
realize you're part of this nucleus that it's
Yeah.
it's an ever existing thing that never dies because new kids come in, and the only way to keep it from never dying is to have new kids coming in.
Yeah.
So, Tom, may I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Tell me about 3 things that Real Art has to have that maybe other venues don't, but 3 things that Real Art couldn't do without in order to survive.
Wow. So space, obviously, we can't do. I mean, we could probably do Real Art somewhere else. It would just be like at a VFW hall, or maybe like I could talk to Dano at airport and be like, "Hey, you want me
Yeah.
to get some? You want to get some tax write off? Like, let's figure something out." So, like the space, obviously, and that involves money. But
Yep.
what we need the most of is just people to like want to do it with us. So it's like
Yeah.
people want to book shows, people want to volunteer and run shows, like run and sound. Like we need like a whole team of people that are just willing to not make real money because like they'll make some money, but usually the only people that make any money are the people that are running the day of show duties. So it's like
Yeah.
the sound engineer, the show manager, the person running the cashier, the person who's watching the backstage. Like those are only people that are really getting paid, but it's like not a lot. So it's like you're getting like $25 or $100. Like
Yeah.
it's not a crazy amount of money. So it's like you have to have the love to do it. Like I make zero money here. Like I work a full-time job, and it just
Yep.
happens to be that I'm a screen printer, and I my screen printing shop is at Real Art, and that's what I do for
Mhm.
a living. So that's how I make my money.
Yeah.
And I also get disability money from the government for being a veteran, so that helps me subsidize my
That helps.
life. So
Well, I will tell you one thing. If you're out of high school or something, or if you're in high school and you're thinking about going to one of these music industry college things, I will tell you, you
yeah.
will get better experience volunteering at Real Art than you will
Oh,
going to one of
100%.
those schools, because
We've
those
we've
schools can be good, but
yeah.
a lot of times when we do interact with someone who went to that school and they're straight out, they don't know shit.
Yeah. Cuz I've actually had some friends that went to Full Sail for
Yeah.
audio production and
Yeah.
shows like, and out of like the 3 dudes that I knew, only one of them still works in the music industry as far as I know. Like he does like sound and lighting for a music venue in like Georgia. But everyone else like
Yeah.
moved on to other things. Like
Yeah.
one dude
That's not
works
to
in like
say
the
that's not
pub.
to say that there's not a place for it. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
But
100%.
I think if you go and you volunteer at Real Art, you're going to really understand how this works from
Yeah, and
start
then
to
yeah, and you
finish.
will understand like what it takes and what you need to do and like how to do it before you even step into like a
Yeah.
learning environment. So it's like
Yeah, so how does it
you
work if
get
you
the
want to
hands-on learning. Yeah.
Yeah, and so if
Yeah.
somebody wants to be a volunteer at Real Art, how does that process work? You're
Yeah,
not
it's
just thrown to the wolves, right?
yeah, so whenever we get people that want to volunteer, they usually go to our website or they just pop in like, "Oh, hey, how do I learn how to do stuff?" Like, I'm interested in being a sound engineer or I want to like manage shows or book shows. How do I get involved? So we just let them know, "Hey, every fourth Tuesday of the month, we do a volunteer orientation and meeting. So we have our staff meeting. So just come 6:30, learn about what we do, and then we'll put you in. So we'll get you on the
That's
Discord
awesome.
because we use Discord for
Yep.
communications, and then we have a meetup website that we schedule all of our shifts, and like people can just sign up. So if you come to the meeting and you're at the volunteer meeting, you get first dibs on shows. So we let
Hell yeah.
everyone know like what the shows are for the next month and how they can sign up and like, hey, this show is a hardcore show. This show is like an indie shoegaze show. Like, so we let everyone know what's coming up, what the shows are, how to sign up, and then we go from there.
Nice. So you can go to realarttacoma.com and it's
Mm-hmm.
got everything you need there. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, from having worked with Tom and the people over at Real Art, it's a super welcoming group. You know, people aren't going to make you feel stupid if you don't know something. You know, what they
Yeah.
want is to help you learn how to do this, because we need young people coming up with training like you're not going to
Yeah,
get anywhere
yeah.
else. And you get that at Real Art. Because
Absolutely.
the hope is, you know, like, they come through that space and they learn what they want to learn, and when they go off to college or wherever they're going, they can take
Mhm.
that knowledge with them and start their own Real Art somewhere else.
Yeah,
We need
exactly.
this all over the country.
That's a big
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, I was gonna say, I also noticed, Tom, that you guys also have like scheduled stagehand and sound classes
Yes,
and stuff, right? So you
Yeah,
actually have like
so
classes.
we do classes. So we have at least once or twice a month we do stagehand and sound engineering classes. So basically
Really.
it's kind of like an info session. So it's like a 2-hour class. You come in and you learn about like the basics of stagehand work and the basics of sound engineering, and then that turns into, hey, so this is all the basics. We'll show you how to wrap cables and learn how to like mic things up and how to run the board, like real basic. And then like if this is something you're interested in, we can get you plugged in with a sound engineer and you will shadow them. So you'll shadow
Hell yeah.
them for X amount of
Nice.
time. So you're
Okay.
learning on the job, and then you learn everything they know, and then at some point you are now a sound engineer. So now they're shadowing you. And then once you're off to the races, we're just
There we go.
scheduling you for shows. You're working sound engineering gigs. We've had so many people that went from knowing nothing, like the very basics, and now they're running sound at Muckleshoot Casino for Boys
Yeah.
to
That's
Men.
crazy.
So we've had we had a pretty good amount of success stories like that. So it's
Yeah.
and it's all on the job learning. So it's not sitting and hearing somebody lecture and then doing some hand-on experience after that. It's just, no, you learn some stuff and then you just see how it's done and then you just do it.
You get in there.
That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
awesome. Yeah.
there's not a lot of opportunities like that out there.
No.
No. It's so invaluable, man. It's like, and that's what I mean, though. It's like what needs to happen is kids need to be able to experience places like this, but then also walk away with the inspiration that they can do this too. Or, they might. It's not like every kid that's going to go to a place like Real Art is from the area. There's and also there's a lot of bands from small towns and stuff. But that's the thing is, like, I've been seeing more now kids throwing shows. I saw a video of a hardcore show going down outside of a barn. Literally, they had the gear up to the barn right there, and then everybody was outside. I was like, hell yeah, do that.
I saw something on social media where there was a show in a cave. So people are just like the band's inside the cave and everyone's just outside of it. I was like, what's happening? Like,
that's
crazy
amazing.
shows.
I want to know how that sounded.
Yeah.
If that sound went in that cave and came back out, oh man. That's amazing. But I think the spirit of that is the other thing is, and without getting into like too much into the politics and evils and of all this other corporatism and all this stuff, but the thing is like when shit gets top heavy like it is now, like you were talking about before we started about tickets getting sold in bulk and all that, or in tours canceling and all that shit's real. I think that's when you start seeing this creativity at organic levels of creativity starting to happen. I've seen even older shows, I went to a show where I don't think anybody was under 40. It was like old school punk, but it was in an art gallery. You know what I mean? It was like it was cool. It made sense, and it wasn't beholden to any one particular entity. It's like you can do it yourself, and it's not just kids. Like I said, you can do this at all. But I think I just wanted to point out that what you do, Tom, is carrying that spirit, but also see what do you think of the current state of music, and do you think there's more interest in like what you're doing, like real art and stuff, spaces like that, than there used to be, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think now there's more of a interest in like DIY, like punk and hardcore spaces, or even just like DIY alternative music spaces. So it's like there's a lot of, you know, house venues and
Yeah.
VFW halls and things like that, or maybe even just like a generator show under a bridge.
Yeah,
Like there's a
yeah,
lot of these things happening and they're popping up.
Got that in
And then
Bellingham.
like
yeah.
right now I know that there's Outer Orbit on South Tacoma Way, which is like an ice cream parlor and video arcade that does small shows. Even restaurants are starting to put on shows. Like there's this pizza spot on Pacific called the Slice of Life. They're doing
Hmm.
DIY punk shows. And then
Awesome.
yeah, and then I've seen like even the top of Tacoma started doing shows where they'll just like clear out the pool tables and just have a show like in the back of
Hmm.
Yeah,
the restaurant, the bar. So it's like
yeah.
we're seeing a lot more interest in like low key DIY non traditional venues
Yeah.
popping up. So those are, I feel like they're really important because it's a good way to get like in when you don't really know what you're doing. So you're just like
100%.
figuring it out. Yeah. And that's
Yep.
how I figured it out. That's how most of my peers figured it out, is just by doing it. It's like
Yep.
I don't know anything about this, but I'm gonna see if I can do it because I think I can do it. It seems pretty easy, and if it's not easy, I'm gonna find out. And then that's just how you got to do it. I mean, there's a lot of credit to the term "fuck around, find out." So that's pretty much
Yeah,
it's both
yeah,
bad and good, but I
Yep.
mean that's the only
yeah,
way you're gonna know is to try.
yeah,
And so kind of along those lines of like just doing it, you've been doing that for a long time now. You're still here,
Yeah.
but there are
Yeah, I started doing shows with friends back in 2007, and then when I moved to New York, I didn't really do anything music related. I was just working retail and trying to build a clothing brand. But then when I came back in 2014, um I was approached to, do the music thing, and initially it was just supposed to be for the clothing side, and when everyone started like feeling burnt out and wanted to move on to other things, um, I didn't want to lose my store, and I was like, well, I'll just take over the venue and make sure that we keep this going because for me, this venue can't fail. Like
yep.
I won't let it fail. So
Damn.
even if it feels like it will happen, it's not gonna happen because I will give up all of my money, all my time, just to make this happen. Because
Damn. And you've been here for
it's
a
not
decade.
something. Yeah, yeah. We've been. This is our 11th year now.
Yep.
Um, I didn't have a place like this when I was growing up. I didn't really get into going to shows until like really I was in my 20s. Because I like the first show I ever went to was like at a skate park when I was 16, 17, at a place
Mhm.
called Ramp and Roll in Warner Robins, Georgia. So it was
wow,
like a skate park
wow.
that I would go to, and then I was like, oh, there's gonna be a punk show here. So I went. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Like I've never been to anything like this before. All the bands are playing on a ramp on a half pipe. In the middle of the half pipe, they're just got their whole setup, and everyone's just standing around in a semicircle, and like that was kind of it for me. But I just didn't know where to go for shows because it was the late '90s. It's
Yeah.
kind of hard to figure out stuff. So, but once I got into college, that's when I met some other punks that were like, "Oh, we're gonna go see Hot Water Music and Saves the Day and at the New Brooklyn Tavern in South Carolina. So let's go." And then we just didn't. We got shitty directions on MapQuest. We didn't know what we were doing. we couldn't find the venue. We stopped at a gas station and we found some kids that were going to the show. Like, hey, follow us. We know where to
Hell yeah.
go. And then we missed every band. So it was like Saves the Day, Small Brown Bike. I think there was one other band that I can't remember, but we missed everyone. And we got there for the last two songs of Hot Water Music. So they were about to play Turnstile, and that's where we got in. We're like, what the fuck? But we got to see them play at the very end. So
There you go.
it was
And
like
you
an
had
hour drive that was worth it.
you had an experience that you'll never
yeah.
forget.
Yeah, and you have
it's
this
a
story to
crazy
share
story that
years later.
I'll never forget for the rest of my life. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, that's really good news that you're not going to let this thing fail. I know how
No.
much work you put into it, blood, sweat, and tears, all that. What are some of the biggest challenges that Real Art faces, or just, in general, maybe a venue like Real Art faces?
A lot of the times for us, it's the venue doesn't have like a built-in audience per se. So it's like some some bars, they'll just like, oh, people just go to the airport because they're going to the airport, or they'll go to the top
Yeah.
because that's their local bar and that's where they want to go hang out. And then it just so happens to be there's a show happening that night.
Right.
So it's like
Yeah.
there's already a built-in audience. Like, oh, I was just gonna go there anyway, but I heard this band's playing, so I'm gonna check out and see what this band's about. But a lot of times for us, it's like I feel like now that we're in our 11th year, it's a little bit more of that. So we do have some times where people are just like, we're just gonna go to Real Art for a show, and
That's
whoever's
awesome.
there is what we're gonna see. But that sometimes we'll still have 11 people show up because nobody knew those bands, and they're like, I don't want to take a chance on seeing a shitty band play at this venue
Yeah.
when I don't know who they are. And it's like maybe there's like a handful of locals, but it's like I still don't know much about those locals either. I'm gonna take a pass and go to the next show that I know the bands and I know that there's gonna be a decent turnout. So it's like
Yeah.
that kind of situation is like the biggest hurdle for us is like, how do we get people in the door? And it's like,
Yep.
we do emails, we do social media, we do a lot of the pay-per-click advertising, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and it's just kind of a crapshoot. But it's just getting the bands that we know that have a draw and making sure we put those bands on, or like combine them with bands that don't have a following. So it's just making sure that we balance it with like established bands and then younger, newer bands, like because we're pretty much catering to the youth. So it's
For
a
sure.
lot of like youth bands. We do partnerships with Tacoma School of the Arts and Ted Brown Music Outreach Live It Out Loud program to bring in a lot of these youth bands to our space and have showcases and kind of get them on with established bands and things like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think that's a good lesson for anybody who's in a band. Most venues do not have a built-in audience. I know very few, like maybe the Tractor in Seattle is one where people just walk by and be like, "Oh, whatever, just pay." Joel, you know all about that.
Yeah.
But very few venues, especially with ticket prices going up and up and up and people having less and less money, people I feel like are less inclined to just take a chance on going to a show. So if you're in a band, the venue sees how much work you put into promo, and the venues do promo as well. And if they're not, then that's another problem. But I know that you do at Real Art.
Bands
we do at the
do
Shake.
too, though.
No, bands definitely do for sure.
Yeah,
I feel but I mean, like bands. Yeah, bands are supposed to. What bands need to
exactly.
Yeah,
like,
when a band doesn't post a flyer till like the 2 days before
thank
the
you,
show,
thank
you're
you,
just like,
thank
Yeah.
you.
what is happening? Like,
It's like,
if you can't bring 10 people to your show, like you don't have 5 friends, 5 family members that want to
yeah,
see your band do something, like you should just not do it. Like, I'm
Or
sorry.
play some of those restaurants, down the street
Yeah,
where the overhead is a lot lower.
or
But
play in
like,
your
yeah.
front yard. Yeah, yeah. No, but
yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, what?
I think what I would like to see, and I was going to ask Tom about this. Sorry, Ian.
No, it's
Is
fine.
what's because I think we talk about a problem.
Hmm.
Independent small venues have issues with like trying to get people to take interest and all that sort of thing. And you think about what are some of the causes of those problems? Well, I can tell you from I've booked everything from 50 caps to maybe 400 caps. That's all I've really ever booked. What I had the biggest problem with, and I think you guys are kind of touching on it right now, is to get everybody on the same page. Like I used to send out like kind of like pep talks, like a coach, like, hey, we need everybody to do a fair amount.
Yeah.
Just I would tell people, hey, please put the pedal and metal on this one. We need people, stuff, and it didn't always work, but I guess that's what I want to ask you guys about. Like for me, I feel like what could we all do better to like get everybody on the same page so they realize, because we're all driving the same car. The 3 bands you book or the 4 bands you book and the booker, we're all on the same vehicle. We're all here.
Yeah.
And we all
Yeah.
need to not crash the car. So like, what do you think? What do you guys think? You're both bookers.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's a lot of the same for sure. It's just trying to get people, corralling them to like be on the same page and making sure it's like, hey, I see you didn't post a flyer on your Instagram, like, or you're
Yeah.
not posting on Facebook. Like, can you make sure you're like sharing the post and like add us as like, and if you do make a post, like, hey, add us as a collaborator. We have 15,000 followers on
Right.
Instagram. Like, make us a collaborator on your post so our
There
15,000
you go.
people will see your posts, as well as
Yeah.
like all of your people will see your posts, and then
Yeah.
making sure you're sharing to your stories. Like, it's all a numbers game, so the more eyes you can get it on, the better.
Yeah.
And it's just,
Yeah.
yeah, a
Yeah,
lot
and
of,
I go ahead.
because it's like you could throw as much money as you want at an ad, but
Yeah.
that's not real engagement. People are just gonna see like, oh, it's an ad. Like, it's not
Exactly.
Right.
organic. So
Yeah.
people are like not really that interested in getting sold something. So if you
Right.
could just like tell your friends and they'll tell their friends, like, word of mouth is probably the best uh form of advertising. So like
Yeah.
guerrilla marketing always works.
That's what
So it's like,
I'm a big
100%.
so
pro
even
of.
to this day, handbills and
Handbills.
posters, like,
I was gonna bring them up. I'm starting to
yeah,
see more handbills.
yeah.
I'm not when I just gave up my last club gig, but when I was at my last club gig the last couple of months, I started seeing handbills coming back, and I'm like,
Yeah,
fuck yeah.
we still
That's
do handbills. So it's like
yeah.
people, we just
Yeah.
have them on the front desk, and people are like here for a show. They'll see other shows because you're giving out handbills, whether it's
Yeah.
on the desk or like you tell somebody, hey, hand these out to people as they're leaving. Like,
And if you
get
don't know what a hand,
get
if
it
you're
in
in
their
a
hands.
yeah, exactly. If you're a young
Yeah.
kid and you have not experienced handbills, I mean, when I started booking shows, I was going to Kinko's with a flyer.
You
and I was
always had handbills.
dude, I was like the last guy passing out
You're a handbill and
handbills.
mofo.
Yeah.
Once the internet came,
learned
I used
that.
to go to shows in the beginning, and it was me, Jocelyn, with like 10 or 12 other people passing out flyers, and then 10 years later, I was the last weirdo
Yeah.
standing outside the show
Yeah.
box passing out handbills and stuff. But I
I'm
think it
starting to see
really
again, though.
it should be coming back because the internet and social media is so oversaturated. You can't see
Yeah.
anything through all the algorithms and all the other bullshit. If you're in a band and you go to a big show, or if you go to another show that's similar fans to your music and you pass out some flyers, you can have a human interaction that they will remember Like they will
Yeah.
be like, holy shit, I met that dude in the band. I'm gonna go to that show. Like
Yeah.
that's next level stuff. And I think it needs to come back. Like you were saying, guerrilla marketing stuff works. And I think one thing that I've noticed in booking, anytime that we as the venue put an emphasis on how getting a show across the finish line and being successful is a collaborative effort where we're all
Mhm.
on board. The venue's doing our part. Here's what we're doing. We're doing an email blast. We've got it on our website. We're going to make a Facebook event. We're going to have posters, blah, 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 blah. If we can tell the bands that, then it kind of shows them here's the expectation. You're also going to do this if you want to have a successful show, because we can promote till the cows come home. If the band's not saying shit, nobody's going to come to the show. But if the band is also putting in the work and then they also see the venues putting in the work, then it just makes it 10 times better, not just twice as good. It's way better when everybody's doing the work. But it is work. It's work and it sucks. But if you're not willing to do the work, then maybe don't book a show at a venue that has overhead and staff and people who need to get paid.
I mean, that's
because
fair.
then you're doing the venue dirty, right? Like they're gonna lose money if you're not putting the work. So
you book a show and you don't, you not really have a plan. You should also have a marketing plan. Like I think bands need to start taking up marketing plans a little more. Every venue, every place I've ever booked, I always had a one-sheet marketing plan, that I would develop to try to tailor it to the place I was at, And what I found is like some bands do. Some bands are organized,
There's a lot of bands that are really good at it.
Yeah. I want to give those bands a shout out. It's awesome when I see bands doing shit that I'm like, I didn't even think of doing them. But but the thing is, I think that bands would be a lot happier with the whole experience as a whole if everybody was on the same team and put on at least somewhat of a equal. If everybody had the skin in the game, to me, that's it. Like when you have skin in the game, you kind of forces your hand to care. And I don't know. I like this conversation right here because I think this is a thing that should be talked about, because I'm going to tell you, man, I've over the last 25 years, I've just heard a lot of grumbling and bands being pissed at bookers and bookers being pissed at bands. And, it just seems like it's been the same grind and those wheels are getting rusty, and it's like, dude, we all need to be like, hey, we're shooting for the same success here. We're not competing with each other as far as like band and venue go,
for sure.
They're like this. So I feel like some education in that level on those things to get everybody.
There's a new class for you, Tom. There's a new class.
Yeah. We need to get a booking like 101, like running
or
a show,
just
101.
Like a band marketing 101. Like I think but I think the thing that I want to emphasize though, and you do this really well at Real Art, and I know that we do this at the Shakedown, but there are venues that book a show and they don't do shit, and that is just as if not worse. It might be worse, because they're shooting themselves in the foot, and then they're also not inspiring the band to put any work in. So I just want to make sure we end this kind of part of the conversation and not just leave it all on the bands to do the work, because there are some shitty venues out there.
Yeah,
none of us are saying that or thinking that, but I want to emphasize the fact.
No. I've told on venues before. Like I'll be walking by, and I know I happen to have a friend that might be headlining the place, in a month, and there's still no flyer up. I'll text my friend and be like, "Yo, drop in and check for your flyer." Because seriously, this shit goes both ways. Absolutely. I wasn't trying to hang it all on the band.
No. I know that.
I feel like if the bands knew a little bit of what the venues go through, and then the venues kind of could share what they go through with the band, so that they could everybody, feeling each other on this, then I think things would. Yeah, but I mean,
I think like you were saying, it's kind of a disconnect, because I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a message from a band or emails over the 20 years or whatever, where they're like, well, I literally have had emails where people are like, I'm not going to promote. The venue has a built-in crowd, and I'm like, no, like
No.
I don't
no
know where you think
venue
you are.
has
Oh,
a
yeah.
built-in crowd, buddy. Like, what
Oh,
are you
yeah,
talking about?
I've literally seen on Facebook like dudes my age that are been in bands for like 30 years. So they go, well, if the venue's not going to promote it, why should it be on me? Because it's you on stage, motherfucker. What the hell is
Yeah.
wrong with you?
Why
It's
are you
like,
not telling
You're the one,
anybody? Like,
ultimately, you're on stage, and if you
Yeah,
didn't do,
no-
but
nobody
there are
knows. Your audience doesn't know you're here. Of course, they're not
Thank
going
you.
to show up.
That's the unfortunate part, guys. Like, I want to do this as a service to like younger people, and be like, yo, get started on the right foot. Talk to
Yeah.
your booker. What can you do to push the show? That's
Yeah.
it.
And I will tell you, and I'm sure Tom, you will agree. Let me know if a band reaches out and says, "How can I help promote this show?"
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
God,
Yeah, that's
that's the
wild.
holy grail.
Yeah, it's like
The booker
like,
passes
that,
out right
so
there.
now you know where the problem is, because like, what do you mean? Like, have you ever promoted a show before? Like, tell your friends, tell them to tell their friends, give them something to hand out, or just there's a really cool button. It's called the share button on literally every social media platform that ever existed. Just
But
share the flyer.
well,
Like,
absolutely. But I will
Yeah.
say this: if I had a band email me and just say, "Hey, like
yeah,
I want to do this. How can I help you?" That would be awesome. I would
Yeah.
all instantly know that band is
Yeah.
invested in the success
yeah.
of the
So
Exactly.
that's good when they want to like have some help, but it's like, but if they talk to you like, I don't know anything, like, what the fuck? How do we get
Yeah.
here? Like,
But-
how did you
but-
book this show to begin with? So it's like, just think of
Yeah.
that. Like, you did
People
something.
need to start somewhere, right?
Yeah,
And
you
that-
went,
and that's
you
where-
like showed up, you emailed somebody, and you were like, "Hey, I want to play a show at your venue." All right, cool. Let's get you in here. But if that's it, then we have
Right.
a problem. But like, you need to use that same energy that you had to try to book the show to begin with, and like, that's what you need to do to
yeah,
promote. So it's like
Mhm.
you already know
Yeah.
what it is and what it takes to get
Yeah.
the show to happen. Now you got to do the same thing to get the people to come to the show. So I think that's where they're missing.
Yeah,
that
getting the
info,
show
like the click. Yeah,
getting the show booked is almost the easy part. It's the follow through and having a successful show, it happens when a lot of things are clicking. And
Yeah.
you know what? To be honest with you, there are times where the bands have put in tons of promo work. It's
Mhm.
the right bands, it's the right day of the week. The venues put their work in, and the show still sucks. It just happens sometimes.
Yeah.
But we can
Sometimes there's
see
like outside factors where it's like, was there a competing show nearby?
right.
Was there like a bigger event that was happening? Like,
Totally.
was it on a
Totally.
holiday? Like, what are the outside factors that you have to think
Right.
of to like
Yeah.
kind of, what are you
But
competing against? But
even
even
if
then,
a
like, when you know everything, there's always going to be some unknown factor
Right.
that you're like, oh
Of
fuck, I
course.
didn't even think about that one.
But if
And then-
if you're in a band and you have obviously put effort into promoting a show and the show still sucks, I guarantee you the venue will give you another shot if they know you're putting in the work.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, I've
Yep.
had so many shows that just bombed, and
it
I'm
just
like,
happens.
I'm like, it's nobody's fault, but we'll get it on the next one. Like,
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
keep doing this until it makes sense. Or if it doesn't make sense, then we know what happened and we did everything we could. So we'll just have to move on.
Yeah.
Yep. One of the
Yeah.
funniest when I was promoting shows, it's just popped into my head is I booked the Wailers, Bob Marley's band. I booked them in Portland and I was so excited. It was just I think it was like one or two guys from the original band. But I was so stoked. I was like, "Hell yeah, book the Wailers in Portland. It's going to be awesome." And then I don't know if it was like a week later or a month later, I was like, "Why are tickets not selling?" And someone was like, "Oh, you didn't know that there's a giant like annual reggae festival in Portland that same weekend?"
Ooh.
And I was like,
Oh.
"Oh
We've
my
all been there.
God.
We've all been there. We've
Yeah.
all been there.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal, man.
You should have
Oh.
booked them with the white guy surf band, the Wailers. That would have been the shit right there. Weren't they from Washington?
Yes, I think so.
But yeah,
Anyway, that was hilarious, but it happens. But you know,
yeah.
put in the work, and venues will notice, and venues put in the work because the bands deserve it. So
I want to
Yeah.
tag on to that. One part is also like what I've seen a lot is kids will work like hell to get a show. They get the show, and then they have all these questions, and then they know that the booker's got very little time, and they get intimidated, I think, by the whole process. And a lot of times, you know, I've talked to kids and be like, dude, why didn't you like hit the club up and be like, what should I do? What can I do? How do I do this? And a lot of times they're just like, I didn't want to bother anybody, you know. And I think
Yeah.
kids need to learn, right? And I think it's up to us on the venue side to remind, you know, to make sure that people know to be approachable and just be like, look,
Oh yeah,
if you
100%.
have any questions, if we can help you out in any way, you know.
yeah,
But I think, but you know, I'm just bringing up the whole, you know, the whole thing from all sides because to me,
Yeah.
it's important that we look at it that way. Because yeah, it really seems like this is a decades old like miscommunication that seems like
Yeah.
it should be solved by now.
Yeah,
Well,
you would
you know
think
what?
so, but it's all like part of the growing
My
process, I
generation
guess.
didn't do shit to solve it. I will say that we just leaned into it, been pricks, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I think now with communication that you
yeah.
know
I
we
think the
have,
communication, is where we
yeah, and
need.
I think
Like,
this is a conversation we can continue to have multiple
yeah,
times. I think it's important.
yeah, it never
yeah,
this never stops evolving, right?
yeah.
But
Because I
yeah,
know like
Tom,
a lot, and it's also sharing the information because I know there's a lot of people that like to
yeah.
gatekeep and like,
Right.
oh, I figured out what it takes, but I don't
Oh,
want to like let people in on the secret because
oh
they feel
yeah,
like it's a challenge. Like I had to go through all these hoops to get to know what I know, and I don't want some kid that just like came in and like I'm just gonna give them all this information that they didn't
oh,
even work for. I was like, that's
oh
Yeah,
hell no,
a weird
yeah,
way to
that's
look at it. It's like
that
you
is.
should
Yep.
want people that are coming up to succeed and not have to have the same struggles that you had.
yep,
Like that's like just
yep,
being a parent too. Like
Yep.
you want your kids to have it easier than you had. I'm not a parent
Absolutely.
myself, but I know that's what my parents went through when
Yep.
I was growing up. They didn't
Same.
want to have they didn't want me to have the same struggles that they had.
right.
Yep.
So
Right,
yeah.
which is weird how because then you go out in the world and there it seems like everybody wakes up in the morning figuring out how to like block your ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
They're like, oh, how do I keep this guy from like reaching the same place that
yeah, I
I'm
don't
at?
want them having
Because
what I
I
have or
don't
what.
want him to take my job. But like
Well,
that's what we try to have a culture of helping and
Yep.
yeah,
showing people what to
And
do and eliminating the barrier for entry and
yeah, and
yeah,
I
like
think you do a
letting
really good
everyone
job with that.
know, yeah, and letting everyone know that you can do this. Like
Yep.
if
yeah,
you're old enough to do it, like you're old enough to like really think about what you're doing and what your place is in the world, like you can do this and there's nothing that can really stop you. Like sometimes money is not even an issue. Like
Yep.
you could have literally no money and still do what we're doing.
yeah,
Yep. And I think a really good place to start is Real Art because there's a really strong community there and people that will
yeah,
have your
Yeah.
freaking back
Yeah.
and they'll help you take
Absolutely.
chances, which is
Yeah.
really, really cool. And your normal venue down the street probably will not do that. Some will,
Yeah.
some are cool, but at the end of the day, they're just looking at their bottom line trying to survive
Yeah.
and sell as many
Because they
drinks as
got people
possible.
that they got people they gotta pay. Yeah, they
Yep.
want to make as much money as they can,
Yep.
and like there's they want to make sure there's plenty of money to go around. But at the end of the day, like they gotta stay open and they gotta keep
Yep.
doing it, or else it's just
yeah,
gonna leave a hole.
And that's where spaces like Real Art come in. They help build that
Hmm.
community. So go to realarttacoma.com, all
Yeah.
the social
Thank you.
media pages.
Yeah.
Uh, come say hi to Tom at the Thunderdome Cafe and Store, right?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
what days are
Yeah.
you there?
Thunderdome. We're open Wednesday through Sunday. We open at 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And if there's a show, the cafe and the store will be open until the end of the show. And then I screen print pretty much every day of my life. So even when the cafe and the clothing store's not open, I'm here screen printing T-shirts for bands, local brands, bars, pubs, restaurants, you
So if
name it.
somebody wants to have shirts made for their band and their
Right.
Yeah,
little ass band they've just been playing in their garage, they can come
yeah.
talk to you and get some
Come
shirts
talk to
made up.
me. We have really low minimums. You could do 12 shirts.
Hell yeah.
Get your
Damn.
little logo on there, hand them out to your friends. Like
There you go.
we'll get you going.
Get the
And
word
that's
out.
Absolutely.
that's making
Making
music, print and
music,
design.
print and design. Yeah, me and Adrian
Okay.
Cooper. It's a 2-man operation. So we do
Hell
everything
yeah.
ourselves. We do art. We do screens. We do everything.
Do
We
you
do,
have
do
Damn.
do you
embroidery
have
too.
classes for that?
I was thinking about doing it this year, but that's probably going to be a next year project.
Okay, down the road.
Uh, yeah,
Fair.
so we'll probably
Fair.
start doing like screen printing classes, and then we already have like some ideas in the works of like doing like, you know, booking shows and
Hell
learning
yeah.
how to promote shows. So that's our next project after we really get this sound classes going, because we are fine tuning sound engineering stuff, because the way we had it set up before was like come to a volunteer meeting and then you could just sign up to shadow sound,
Mm,
and then that wasn't really working out the way we wanted it to. So we're integrating sound shadowing with the stagehand and sound engineering classes. So it's like people come in, we gauge their interests, and then we just plug them in with a sound engineer. It's like, hey, you're gonna shadow this sound engineer till the end of your time, till you're a sound engineer. So
hell
you'll
yeah.
just get in with them, learn everything they know. Maybe there'll be like an extra person on hand. It's like, hey, you'll work with Alex, and then you'll work with Aiden, and then they'll get you dialed in. You'll run shows whenever they run shows. We'll get you plugged in, and then once you're ready, they'll get you in there and they'll shadow you until they feel like you're comfortable, and then we'll put you on like an open mic, and then we'll put you
Nice.
on some of the like the smaller events. Like we're gonna do a floor show this day, you'll be running the floor show. Like, you know, all the basics. It's a really easy setup. You're just setting up some vocal mics. You're not miking up cabs, bass amps, nothing. You're just
Hell yeah.
letting them play out of their amps, letting them play their drums. You're not miking anything except for 3 vocal mics. We'll
That's
see how
awesome.
that goes. Yeah.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the last thing I want to plug, and maybe you can talk about this a little bit, is that you've got an HVAC
Oh,
cooling
yes.
system
So we don't have air
Oh
conditioning
situation.
yeah.
currently. So we have a GoFundMe right now. We'll probably put a link for this at the
Yeah,
end.
I'll throw it
Yeah.
at the
We'll do a
bottom.
But
link at
yeah,
the end.
so we need an HVAC system. So Ted Brown Music donated 5 grand. We
Damn.
raised a little over 5 grand already, but it's gonna cost like upwards of like 28 to 30,000. So I'm working with a guy named Brian, who is an accountant for nonprofits, and he plugged me in with some people that do financial loan stuff for nonprofit organizations, because money is
Yeah.
different for us over here because it's not guaranteed money, other
Right.
than like what we might be doing as far as like revenue generating. But so yeah, we need an HVAC system. I've had a bunch of people tell me that they could give me a deal on HVAC, but
Hmm.
we need the money. The money is what we
Right.
need, because we still got to pay for it. You might
Yep.
want to give us a deal on something, but it's still going to cost us some money to do it. So
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
give us
Yeah,
money.
for
It,
sure.
Please and thank you, because
give
it's
real
hot.
art money.
We
It
had some really hot days the last couple days, and
Oh yeah.
man, screen printing with no
oof,
HVAC is an
Is
absolute nightmare.
that's
So
brutal.
you're just in there with like the smallest amount of clothing, screen print
oh
t-shirts. When you're running 3 heating elements, is
Uh
pretty fun.
no,
Yeah.
man.
damn.
People
Well,
gotta
it
people gotta support real art, man.
Yeah.
This is
absolutely.
it's too important
Yeah.
for communities, kids that you might know, kids that your
Yeah.
friends know. A lot of people benefit from these spaces,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Yeah. If
yeah,
it wasn't for the DIY punk hardcore scene, I wouldn't
yeah,
be anywhere. I wouldn't be doing the things that I'm doing now. Who knows?
yeah,
I might not even be alive. This
Yeah.
thing that I'm doing saved my life. So I
Yep.
want it to be that way for everyone else.
Hell yeah, man. Well, we appreciate everything that you do. And I know there's a lot of people out there in the Tacoma community and the greater Pacific Northwest
Yeah.
that appreciate it too.
Yeah.
Anything else you want people to know about what you're working on?
Just printing, running shows, making sure we get people to come out to shows. So yeah, stay
Oh,
up
yeah.
on the calendar, learn about, follow us on all social media. Just come to shows, be involved, book shows, do all the things that I'm doing. Like this could be you, because I'm 45 and I'm not gonna do this forever. I mean, I could probably do it until I die, but
Yeah.
I'd rather have the kids do it because
Yeah.
And
they know more than I do what at the end of the day, because like
I
they're
will
exposed to a lot more.
and I will tell you how rare it is to hear a business owner, a president of Real Art, or any type of venue like that say, "Come do all of these jobs." Like
Yeah.
that's so
Yeah.
cool
Yeah.
that you can go there and do all of that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
You,
Exactly.
the barrier to entry is almost non-existent. You just got to
Hell
show
yeah.
up and want to do it, and then you will do it. Like we're
Yeah.
the only way we will tell you no is if you're really bad at it, and then we'll be like, all right, maybe we need to find something that you're good at. But 9 times out of 10, like there's no such thing as being bad at something. Like you have to
Yeah.
be like the absolute worst, and even then, we'll find something for you to do.
Find a way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's
Like
there's
there's
always
gonna be
something.
something you're good at, 100%.
And worst case scenario, you just get to go to some shows. You can volunteer.
Yeah,
And
you're gonna be good at going to shows. Our prices are
exactly.
usually $10 to $15. If it's like a higher touring band, maybe $30. But you're not
Yeah.
paying like hundreds of dollars to go see
Right.
one or two artists. You're like, it's a 6-band bill, $15.
Yeah.
You can afford that.
And this money is going directly into the community. It's
Yeah.
going directly to bands. It's not going to
Yeah.
line some rich person's pocket or
No,
something like that.
we're
So
all scraping by working day
Yep.
jobs. So
Yep.
and even the bands are working day jobs until they make it to a certain point. But
Yep.
the bands make the majority of the split. So it's like usually
Yep.
80% or 70% of the door goes to the bands unless there's a guarantee. Like that's how it works for us.
Hell yeah, man. Well, thank
Yeah.
you very much for taking
Thank you.
time to
Yeah.
talk to us
Yeah.
today. I know we had a little technical difficulties and we went kind of long. I
Yeah.
feel like we could talk to you for another like 2 hours. So
Yeah,
we definitely
no
have to talk to you
kidding.
again.
Anytime you guys want me to come back on, and
Hell yeah, dude.
Oh, dude.
we'll do it. I'm
Yeah,
always
we were
available
discussing
for that.
doing some panel stuff with other,
Yeah.
venue people, and also we definitely got to have at least a part 2 to this because we could
Yeah,
definitely go
yeah.
on forever.
Absolutely.
All right, dude. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap up the show here, so you can get on with your day. But thank you so much for taking the time. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks,
I
Tom.
appreciate you guys wanting to do this with me. So thank you.
Hell
Oh yeah. Oh,
All
we're
right.
gonna
Take
This
it
is
easy,
great.
dude. We'll talk again
All
soon.
right.
Thank you.
Yes. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys.
All
Hey,
right,
you
too.
too,
Bye.
Tom.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Bye bye.
Awesome. That was really cool, man.
Dude, that was amazing. That was just like we were talking that could be, and it was everything.
Yep. Absolutely. So definitely go check out realarttacoma.com, Thunderdome Cafe and Store. Tom's there. He's making coffees. He's making sandwiches. He's got
Yeah.
stuff for sale. And for real, if you got a band or if you own a restaurant or a bar or whatever and you need shirts made, hit up Making Music, Print and Design. Tom will get you taken
Absolutely.
care of. The fact that he's got he'll do small runs is really cool because a lot of times when you want to have shirts made,
Yeah.
you need to be making 100, 200 shirts. That's a lot of money up front.
Exactly. And a lot of people, if you're just starting something out and you don't even know if it's going to be around in a month, that's a big investment. So like that low minimum is incredible, man. That could literally think about all the ideas that could get started with such a low minimum.
Yeah, like an album release show. You could do a special screen printed shirt that's only available at that show or something like that.
That's phenomenal, man. I really everything that guy does is so thoughtful and well thought out. Yeah.
Well, and make sure if you have any spare cash and you want to support All Ages Music, donate to their GoFundMe.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
having an AC unit really
Let's get
sucks.
them AC by at least by the end of summer.
Oh man.
Like, no, seriously, it can get swampy as hell. So that's man, I hope they can get that resolved sooner than later.
All right, well, we have World Cup to watch, so let's wrap this up.
All we've been doing.
Next week, we have an amazing guest, Joel's friend, my friend, Jen Misko. Jen works as the house manager at the Showbox and the Showbox Soto in Seattle. Those are big venues, 1,000 and almost 2,000 person venues, legendary Seattle venues.
Yeah.
Jen also sells merch all around town, including places like Climate Pledge Arena. So for real big acts.
Yeah.
I know that Jen's been out
about slinging merch for those gigantic arena acts.
And when I know Jen also does like the Seattle International Film Festival and the Palm Springs Film Festival, because when I was down there, Jen was working that.
That's why.
And Jen also has a college radio promo company called The Band Mom, where Jen gets independent bands airplay at radio stations all around the country and in Canada. So if you've got a band and you're looking to get on the radio, tune in to our next episode because Jen's going to have a lot of cool stuff to talk about. And I'm super interested. I have no idea how that works, honestly.
Super excited to hear about that. Yeah, because I've known about the Band Mom, but I've never actually known like the ins and outs of it. So that's going to be super cool.
Yeah, I'm stoked on that.
And you know what? Freaking bands, especially if you're an independent band, you should be tuning in for that one because that might give you some more info than you had the day before. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah, for sure. And so we're really excited to talk to Jen next episode. Check us out on all of the social media platforms: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Backstage with Ian and Joel. You can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Backstage with Ian and Joel. I almost forgot the name of our freaking show.
We're gonna put the link to that on all.
Yeah, we'll have all these links.
Soon. Yeah,
but the main thing though is go check out Real Art Tacoma. Volunteer for a show, go to a show, and just support that space because it's really important and really cool. So,
absolutely, man. I'm really excited we got to do this one, Ian. Good job, buddy. So awesome bringing Tom on. This is one I really wanted to do. This stuff is like near and dear to my heart. And, I think people will find out that over the course of time, we're going to eventually cover like all aspects and facets of this thing. But there's a reason why I'm glad that we're starting with a lot of the indie and DIY stuff. And that's because that's where I came from. And I'm pretty sure, Ian, that's where you came from.
Yep.
And a lot of the people we know that are so involved in this thing, come from that. Like, so that's the reason why we're covering it. It's not like we're trying to say, oh, this is the only, way to be or whatever at all. We're starting at this level because this is where if you wanted to get involved in music and you have no idea at all who to talk to, what to do, this is the kind of stuff you need to know about. This is the people that will welcome you and let you get you involved, So we are eventually going to be, talking to people that work at all levels, and like Jen will probably be one of the first that works like actual arena stuff. But we're not going to exclude any of it, but I think it's really important, especially for the people that are, thinking about how this whole thing works and how it happens, and is there a place for them?
Yep. 100%.
All right.
Cool, man. Well, thank you to Tom. Again, check out Real Art in Tacoma, and we will see you next time. Jen's going to be on the show next time. It's going to be awesome. So tune in. Thanks, man.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Thank you, the viewer.